The legendary Nestor TREMMERY. Nestor TREMMERY, he was called Nesten around Oudenburg, came from Menen. In 1907 he moved to Oostende. In 1911 he moved to Oudenburg, and in 1934 he settled in close by Westkerke. TREMMERY was a contemporary of Vandevelde from Oudenburg, Gurnay from Verviers, Blondeel from Waregem, Dr. Bricoux from Jolimont, Guillaume Stassaert from Anderlecht, and others. In 1914, when the war broke out, all TREMMERY's pigeons were killed to get out of having his loft inspected by the enemy. In 1919 he started again. In 1926, after he was no longer welcome to race in the Brugge club, he sold a large number of his pigeons in Brussels for 80,000 francs. That was enough to buy 6 houses in those days. In the winter of 1933 he got rid of his lofts in Oudenburg, and in 1934 he started a loft in Westkerke where he would specialize in long distance racing. On December 18, 1938, in the Great Depression, he sold 107 pigeons in the Lion d'Or in Brussels. Included in this sale was, among others, his famous 1931 bird Pigeon, who was judge champion of Europe in the 1938 Olympiade. Nestor TREMMERY was only 12 years old when he got his first pigeons. He started with the then famous Jits pigeons. He became one of the best fanciers in the border district till 1907. In 1907 he went to live in Oostende with relocated pigeons. He beat everybody around, but was only allowed to fly 1 year. After a whole lot of trouble, he donated a lot of pigeons to the president of the Oostende's Federation, after being promised that his exclusion would be short. TREMMERY believed the promise but remained excluded, only being allowed to race during the week. He went on his bike to Rombeek, Kortemark, Mulebeek, where he once had the 12 first birds from Aris, a 100 km or 60-mile race, Roeselare, and other clubs. In 1911 and the following 2 years, TREMMERY averaged 160 prizes per year. In 1911 he got some pigeons from Vandevelde and some from Blondeel. In 1914 was the top of the TREMMERY's career. That's when he won the first 12 prizes out of his 14 cent, and during the same year, in another race, he clocked all 14 pigeons in 56 seconds, taking the 14 prizes with his 14 entered. It was the pure Vandeveldes that won all the races for him. TREMMERY, who was afraid of the enemy, went to his loft a few days after the war started, and killed all his pigeons without notifying anybody. A fortune of race and stock birds disappeared. There were numerous fanciers willing to pay for these birds in gold. 1918, new start. Once the war was over, Nesten went to Gurnay from Verviers, Balcleen from Walcourt, and naturally to his neighbor Vandevelde from Oudenburg. From Gurnay TREMMERY bought 30 pigeons. From Balcleen he could choose any he wanted, and on his first visit he picked up the brother of his famous Saint Vincent, and from Vandevelde, who had hidden 3 pairs in his house, he bought 8 youngsters from these breeders. Among the 9 pigeons he bought from Vandevelde, 8 plus 1, there was one extraordinary bad down from the Florent Ursel stock via Tavernier who, like Ursel, was from Gistel, and who was one of the best in the period 1909 to 1914. In 1919 TREMMERY possessed all these pigeons, to start again in 1920. Between 1920 and 1925 he won an average of 150 prizes per year, with 11 firsts in 1922 and 15 firsts in 1923. Because of his strong flying he was not allowed to fly in many clubs. The same happened in Brugge in 1926. Saddened by this decision, TREMMERY sold many in the winter of 1926 for 80,000 francs. Through this sale TREMMERY got to know and became a close friend of Drive Bricoux and brought many good pigeons home from Jolimont. By crossing his remaining pigeons with those from Dr. Bricoux, he developed a strain of pigeons that was not surpassed in Belgium. Between 1929 and 1933 again he was excluded from racing in club after club, and so in 1933 he again sold his pigeons in Oudenburg. In 1934 he and his loft moved to Westkerke. From there he only flew in the long distance national and international races. He became the big star in races like Biarritz, Pau, Bordeaux, St. Vincent, Suffolk, Angoulême, etc. Mastership Without Borders, Tremmery was the big man up until 1938. In the 1938 Olympiade, one of his pigeons was crowned King of Europe. This was 3/20/1995/31. He had a fantastic record and was sold in Brussels in 1938 along with 107 pigeons. He brought 3,000 francs. In this last sale, Tremmery sold all his cracks, many of them for between 100 and 300 francs. There was no money among the fanciers during this depression. On the other hand, no outside buyers were present because of the hard times. Nestor Tremmery did not lose his good humor because of it. When the war broke out in 1940, tea was all over for Tremmery. Charles van der Espt has told us many times that Tremmery was hampered with bad luck and setbacks, but that during his whole life he fought a battle to own better pigeons than his fellow fanciers. Most of the Tremmery pigeons were bought by Belgians in 1938. Those who got the most profit out of them were the Willie brothers from Guillaume. In the loft of the knock, on the top of the Guillaume, they always declare that their best were pure Tremmery. The Tremmery strain deserved a wider distribution.